Metazachlor Matters is the product stewardship advice for Metazachlor for the autumn of 2015 from BASF and Adama. Winter oilseed rape is the most profitable arable crop on UK farms today, even with the recent decline in commodity prices. Metazachlor and Quinmarac are key components of early season herbicide programs in winter oilseed rape, and it's important that growers take action now to protect their future availability, because regulatory pressures due to impacts on water companies represent a real threat to these active ingredients and under the Water Framework Directive. The appeal to growers is to take action this autumn. Be aware of farmyard sources of contamination, as these can be significant, but we feel these can be avoided by the use of best practice, which is available under the Voluntary Initiative. Field sources represent a greater challenge to growers, but we feel these can be minimised by thinking agronomically.
Metazachlor costs money, but to me, like any other input, it's an investment. Let's maximise it. Create the conditions in the field to get the most out of it. A fine, firm, moist seedbed. We can do that. That's a lot of it under our control. Yes, we can't control the rain, but we can control moisture loss from too much cultivation. And we do know that cultivations remove water. Crop establishment is about seed to soil contact. It's particularly important for small seeded crops like oilseed rape. Moisture is probably well up the critical list in terms of something that we need to preserve. The best way of preserving moisture is to reduce the way the soil is moved or cultivated. As soon after harvest as possible, the grower can drill his oilseed rape, then the more chance there is of preserving that very valuable moisture. As an ideal target, I encourage my clients to have their oilseed rape in the ground before the end of August. The target being to have a 6 to 8 true leaf plant by the end of November. Moisture in the soil is at various depths, and August and early September can be quite moist. So we need to make sure that the seed is placed into consistent moisture. So I like to see oilseed rape drilled into the moisture, which would be between 2 and 3 centimetres in the soil. One of the little catchphrases I use is to remember that the combine harvester is the first cultivation pass, because what that does is manage your residue for you, whether it be good or bad. My understanding is that if residue is spread as best we can, then it will not affect the activity of the herbicide. In fact, it will contribute to it because it will hold moisture into the ground, and having a moist soil is one of the ways that herbicides are activated and remain active. Other little technique, particularly if you're no-tilling, which would be my preferred option for establishment of oilseed rape, is to drive the combine on a slight angle. What that means is then if the residue isn't spread beautifully, then the drill might help spread it when it goes through that straw, because you go at a different angle that can pull the straw around. But there is something you can do before that, and that is to use this bit of technology. I think anybody serious about their soil cannot be serious unless they carry a spade with them and use it. We need to get in the field and observe our soil. The ultimate cultivation is a root going through the soil, because cultivators, as good as they are, and they are a necessary thing, don't get me wrong, but what they do is they damage the soil by putting the lovely crumb that's been produced by nature underneath the lumps. And that crumb then can become a compacted zone, a water barrier, so water then starts moving horizontally. That's not what we want. We lose our soil, we lose all the other bits and pieces that we're talking about. Whereas to allow the soil to build up, let the crumb structure build up, and let the roots push through the soil. And leave those roots in place, because they then become the channels for next year's crop roots to go down through the soil.
So why is action needed related to Metazachlor and Metazachlor stewardship for this autumn? There is a regulatory threat looming. DEFRA are looking to mitigate infraction risk under the Water Framework Directive and basically mitigate the movement of herbicides and pesticides to water. And if there is not progress made to address the issues of these products appearing in water, there is a real risk that these products will be lost. We're also going to talk a little bit more now about the drinking water safeguard zones, and these are areas within catchments that influence the water quality at drinking water abstraction points, and these are extraction points which are at risk of failing the drinking water protection objectives. And growers need to understand where those safeguard zones are and whether they impact the way they should be using Metazachlor this autumn. The Metazachlor Matters stewardship guidelines for this autumn fall into two components. The first is around dose. We are recommending a maximum dose of 750 grams of Metazachlor active ingredient per hectare for winter oilseed rape. This reduces the amount of active ingredient applied, reduces the risk of movement to water, but still maintains a high level of efficacy that growers have come to expect from Metazachlor-based herbicide programs. The second critical element is timing. On undrained land, there are no timing restrictions. On drained land, including those that have temporary structures such as mould drains, we're saying that ideally applications should be made during September and avoided after the 1st of October. However, to be pragmatic, where soil and seedbed conditions are favourable and drains are not flowing and the risk to water is minimised, then growers can continue to make applications up to the 15th of October. On drained land in the safeguard zones, which if you remember these are at greatest risk, we're saying that no application should be made after the 1st of October. So how does a grower work out that he's in a safeguard zone which is considered at risk from Metazachlor? Growers can go on to the Environment Agency site, What's in Your Backyard, and enter their postcode, and that will highlight whether they're in a safeguard zone and whether the products that are at risk, and particularly in this case Metazachlor, are one of the at-risk products in that particular area. Metazachlor and Quimerac remain essential components of the early season herbicide programs in winter oilseed rape. And getting the timing right is important because early season applications provide more effective control of certain broadleaf weeds and also maintain the yield potential of the crop. And it's been shown from studies that NIAB, TAG and HGCA have demonstrated that if you are removing weeds early in the programme, the yield benefits can be anywhere from 0.5 up to 2 tonnes per hectare.